Um, so hi everybody, this is Ruth Pringle speaking to you from Blue Noun Language Hub, and I'm delighted to be talking to Chris Morgan today. Chris is somebody who I've talked to once previously, but we have been really following quite a similar quest, I believe, for a while in terms of our approach to helping people enjoy using their English. So I have invited Chris to join me on the live today to find out how he helps people, to find out about his English language teaching offers, and also to just to share a little bit of chat about perspectives of English language teaching. So if you are if you use English as a second language, or as Chris uses the term parallel language, this is for you. This conversation is for you to find out what a potential English teacher, it's not necessarily the one for you, but this is what a good English teacher looks like, and to help you identify that and then help you find your match. So Chris, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for joining.
No, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, pleasure. Oh, and I could also say I can see comments. So if anybody's watching this and wants to pop a question into the chat, I can ask you that directly. So perfect. I've got a thumbs up from somebody, so we do have somebody watching. So hello and thanks for being with us. So Chris, can you, I don't want to start with a big question, but can you talk about this term parallel language?
Yeah, so this is a term that I came up with recently, quite recently, that I was looking for a way to avoid the term second language or secondary language or non-native speakers, for various reasons. But I just wanted, because I just wanted a term that was applicable to anyone, and maybe explain that the experience of speaking another language. And it's kind of stuck with me, and I've used it, and people have seemed to have responded to it a bit. It's really, I was looking for a term that I was comfortable with, that was avoiding native and non-native terms, which I really try to avoid completely now, as much as I can.
Yeah, it's a very loaded terminology, isn't it?
Exactly. And I just think it's just a helpful way of thinking a bit differently, and putting, trying to get people on a level playing field when we're in a language. Usually that's English. I tend to, many people's experience of a parallel language, maybe third, fourth, is English. So yeah, to avoid labels, really, with another language.
I mean, as soon as a lot of people think of themselves as English learners, but that's a cage in a way. If you think of yourself as a learner, you're thinking of yourself as not at a place that you're free to speak. And
exactly,
people can be very expressive with very few words, and it's like, right. let's get to that. Let's start from that place, expressive with a few words, and build on it. And I think we do share that, and I think it's quite unusual in our field to have this approach. Perhaps I almost think of it as quite a deliberate cycle of trapping people and feeling they need more classes and need more courses. So how do you?
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a very common trend and experience that people learning a language or looking to improve a language have, that this kind of accumulation of knowledge and accumulation of vocab, of more complex grammar terms and things like that. And what I try to do is kind of empower people to feel that as soon as possible, that their language, their parallel language, is complete, in terms of how they and it comes back to the parallel. It's kind of a parallel idea, perhaps, that you're living a part of your life in parallel in another language, and it's just all part of you. And so that if you can, you can say so much with so few words. And for a long time I posted, and still something I really really love is the idea of common language lists. In English, there's one called the NGSL, which is all about the most common terms, common language. It's for spoken English, especially. It's just a few hundred words that are used in 90 plus % of the time in any spoken interaction. And I did some posts where I was writing with just the top 100 most common words from that list, and you can say so much. And it's what I think it's what first language speakers, lifetime speakers of English, of any language, we forget that the complexity of the language that we use is built on this, very simple language. And yeah, for native speakers, I use the term because it's commonly used. To simplify the language is sometimes just as hard as it is for someone else to use it the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect there's a lot of people in English language teaching who are quite nerdy about the complexity of the English language, and it doesn't help the learner. I mean, it does for perhaps for an advanced learner who's aiming for perfection, but in my case, those are not my ideal. They're not the
No,
people I help.
no, exactly. Yeah,
I help people who are like have thoughts and ideas in their head and want to get them out their
yeah,
mouth, and
exactly.
and
That, and
it's,
that, and that, yeah, and that goes straight to the heart of confidence, really, at any level, isn't it? Just
yeah,
being able to express your message, and I think I've met a lot of more advanced learners and then they have to sort of, they obviously want to use the most complex language, language that you're able to use, and there's nothing wrong with complex language in some, in some settings, but yeah, often remembering and simplifying your language again is another, quite an advanced skill when when you're comfortable using more complex language and to express your ideas. But I think it starts at any level, really. Yeah, that confidence um, to express your, say what you express your message, tell
an
your
idea
message.
that you can start now. You don't have to wait to be better.
Exactly,
You can
exactly.
start. Okay. So you teach people online? Is it individual classes or groups?
Mostly one-to-one. Yeah, I don't do any group classes currently. I'd like to do that perhaps one day, but I just, well, one-to-one language coaching and English classes online. I do some work in locally in Geneva, but where I live, and I'm actually exploring language coaching for English, for first language English speakers as well. But most of my work is online. Yes, helping usually people working to improve their English.
Okay. And
Yeah.
do you help everyone, or do you have a specific industry or field that you work within?
So I have spent the last 2 years really focusing my messages and my work towards technical writers and people working in digital communication. Um, but recently I've loved working with those people, but in terms of business, it's been a little bit I niched down a little bit too much, and I've realized recently I've sort of rebranded myself since we last spoke, as you mentioned in your post yesterday, um, in terms of punking your language. Now, this is the idea of really empowering people to take the language, usually English, that they have, and do the things that we just talked about, expressing yourself with confidence, and stepping out of that, from an intermediate learner mentality into using language with confidence. So lots of so yeah, I would help really anyone from usually from intermediate to higher level of English. So I'm best placed to help people who have that background of English ability, and reminding people and helping people, empowering people to use the language that you already have with more confidence, and to become more autonomous learners, really. And I think this is whole punk idea that I've um, started using this term more recently, is helping people to to become more autonomous, better learners themselves, and dropping these sort of labels that they may put on themselves, native and things like that, which can hold people back and make people feel more legitimate and just to express themselves professionally or in other areas of life. Usually
So you're helping people not need you, which is great.
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what. Yeah, I am.
100%.
It may just be a short intervention. Sometimes perhaps a short. Yeah, and that's what I love about language coaching. The language coaching kind of way and approach is
Mhm.
that I'd want people not to need me after as short
Absolutely.
time as possible, really. And
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah,
Get if they feel that click, if they get to that
yes,
transformation. And when you
absolutely.
talk about punk, I mean, I
Yeah.
interpreted that a little bit like breaking rules. Are we breaking any
Yeah.
rules here?
Um, yeah, I think there's a bit of that edge, and I think I don't like. I mean, just go down to linguistic rules. I mean, I've worked as a teacher for a long time, and I was teaching grammar and laws and things like that. And yeah, but more than that, it's just learning on your own terms. There's that old saying, just a cliche, but it's true. But language cannot be taught; it has to be learned. And I think it's just that's just the way it is for most people. And you do have to find your own way to learn, your own way to express yourself and feel comfortable in a language, and that changes over time.
But a good coach can find you the shortcuts into that.
Exactly. Yeah,
I mean, if you're trying to learn it all yourself, it can be overwhelming,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
you can get stuck on something relatively simple
Yeah,
or put off by something. Whereas a good coach can really help you navigate that to the point that
yeah,
you are autonomous. And I love that you're stressing that as the conclusion,
yeah,
because you should be.
yeah,
The people shouldn't be in this
absolutely.
cycle of
No,
feeling
exactly,
they're
exactly,
never good enough.
exactly, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, there's an argument that if you can buy a bus ticket and get a pint at the end of the day, you're good enough.
Yeah,
There's
well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think. I mean, there's I've lots of ideas come um, into where I am today as a coach and as producing content. But this idea, recently I've been exploring ideas of design thinking, and the parallels between design thinking process and the coaching process to me are almost identical. And this is identifying the problem,
'cause
but
you're
and
sort of
a problem.
leading people through a journey. Is that the
Exactly. Yeah, and identifying perhaps a period of reflection, identifying the real problem first,
Mhm.
but this idea that from design thinking that what's the term? Good. You're good enough for now. Everything's
Mhm.
good enough for now. That doesn't mean you can't improve,
Yeah.
but you are good enough for now. Whatever you've got to work
Mm.
with and build on.
And I suppose in
Mm,
design as well, you improve the design by using it and building on it in
exactly.
practice.
Exactly. Iterative
So
process.
that's absolutely applicable to language, because yes, not in a classroom.
No, exactly.
That's my 2 pence.
Exactly.
Yeah, alongside a coach, alongside a teacher, but with, like, real interactions and experiences
Exactly.
to
Exactly. Yeah.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your sketching? Because I see lots of sketches popping up in
Uh,
LinkedIn.
yeah. I just, I mean, that started just by posting on LinkedIn. I got myself during COVID. I got myself my remarkable handwriting tablet, and I just started sketching and doing little hand drawings. And I'm quite a visual thinker. I think I'm not a great artist, but just and people really responded to it on my LinkedIn posts, and yeah, so I don't get a chance to do enough of it. I do it in batches, but yeah, it's really helped me to think and to visualize, help people, me and to others to visualize certain things that are difficult to get across in words.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's the
I think
last, English somebody who's wanting to improve in English wants is like a big pile of text about improving in English, like a simple graphic showing the transformation that you can bring to somebody's just very powerful, and it helps you work out how you help people too. I mean, for me, like sketching is just an essential part of our creative days are an essential part of the process for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going back a long way. I'm kind of a frustrated artist. I wanted to be an architect once, and then ended up in town planning, and so there's always been, I've always felt like I didn't explore my kind of artistic, creative side earlier on in my life and my career. So I'm yeah, any chance I get now to just punk it and do some, line drawings and things like that is I'll take it, and yeah, it helps me think, and it's definitely I want to keep
Yeah,
at.
and it's a great tool for within a teaching
Yeah,
space as well, because you can just
absolutely.
pick up a pen and illustrate a concept
Yeah,
very, very easily. And I think, I mean, it's fair to say that in ELT, pretty much all of us have got like pretty diverse backgrounds. There's of which we bring into our coaching and our teaching. It's
absolutely.
not just
Yeah.
an English teacher grown in a jar.
No,
We have this background and these experiences that we
yeah,
can help other people's careers and through English, through improving their English, through this experience, through our previous careers.
absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. So are we going to see a book of these drawings or sketches?
Probably not a book of the well. I hope maybe one day. I mean, I am putting together as part of my kind of rebranding. I'm putting together some books and some ideas at the moment. I have recently launched an ebook which is available on my Gumroad uh, page.
Tell me about the
Um,
ebook. What's
so the
inside?
ebook, the ebook is called how. Oh, hang on spot now. I can't recall it. How to stop judging your English, and
Oh,
it's a little hand sketched. There's hand sketches in there, and it's an analogy of a courtroom, kind of a courtroom analogy of exposing the kind of the way that we self-judge our language or our language potential, and then there's various steps of a sort of jury, a trial by jury,
mm,
taking people through to to help them to just to feel better about their identity, to gather the evidence they have from as many places as possible, to feel good about their
nice.
themselves in the language. And yeah, it's all sketched and hand drawn in there.
Okay, so it
So
helps people. It would help anybody with that voice in their head that's telling them they can't do it, and it sort of shows them they can because we're our own worst critics.
exactly. Yeah,
We wouldn't
yeah,
be as cruel to anyone else as we are to ourselves. And yeah, okay.
exactly.
So we can definitely drop the link to that.
So you can
Is
link
it
to that.
is it available on your website?
It's
Or
there's a link to it from my website. So my website is morganlanguage.com. It is a work in progress, but it's complete but unfinished. As I tried to is one of my first
yeah,
principle of language improvement. But yeah, there's a link there on the first page to the book itself. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, link
I've
there.
got some bad news for you. Websites are never finished.
Oh
They
yeah,
just
no,
are
yeah,
never finished.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's not
as
mine's not even quite complete yet, but it's
you're
getting
modeling your
there.
message. They're not waiting to be perfect. They're just
No,
getting
exactly.
better.
Building
That's kind of the
publishing.
point. And
Yeah.
so how do people work with you if they're interested in having English language classes with you? Uh, how do they approach you? Can they book through your website?
They can book through my website. You can. There's a contact form as well. There's a little bit of information about my language coaching, English language coaching course on there.
Mhm.
But I offered like bespoke packages for for say however long people need. But you can contact me directly through the website. I've just started a new newsletter, Punk My Language Learning newsletter. It's only
Okay.
in the second week. So I'd encourage people just drop their name and email address, and I'll keep you updated on new products and new services as they happen.
Don't you have a special offer for people signing up to your newsletter now? Is there?
Yeah, right now. So I'm working on at the moment I'm working on the principles of punk language learning book, which it will be available as a download soon. But if you sign up for the end of the month, you can I'll get you a free copy when it's available.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and yeah.
Well, there's an incentive to sign up, so you can do that either on your website, or if
On
you
homepage.
or if you're watching this on LinkedIn, just hit follow for Chris's
Yeah.
link and follow him, and you'll get access to great content and the man himself that way.
I'm never far from my LinkedIn feed. It's my only social media kind of outlet for my business at the moment. So yeah,
Very nice.
contact me, message me,
Yeah.
follow me on there.
Good. So it's all quite exciting. There's it sounds like you're lots of things brewing, really.
Yeah, it's a definite. I mean, I've been through different kind of forms of my business and brand over the last few years, but this feels like much more aligned to I am, and it's really got my kind of creative juices, by a horrible term, but I've got lots of ideas in the pipeline. Which is bringing together a lot of my older content as well. So I'm going through a process of getting all of my website is hopefully going to have lots more of my older content tagged and ordered and more accessible soon as well. So watch that space.
Yeah, I mean it's a real buzz when you find out how you can help people and your sort of unique way of helping people. And it sounds like
it's just
you've got there. You've got it.
It feels like it feels very familiar, but because it's sort of things that I've been talking about and working towards for years, but it seems to be I feel much more aligned in.
Yeah, it's familiar, but it's also exciting. And as somebody who's wanting to improve in a language, I would say that would be one clear thing to look for in a coach, is somebody that's just excited about helping you. There's like there are a few people in this industry who aren't, or get a wee bit jaded. So like people who are just reevaluating what they do, how they help, and like kind of refreshing their skills, learning new skills, learning new, rethinking, redesigning how their offer and how they can help people get results quickly and sustainably for their students. It's very hard to find when you are on the outside trying to find your English teacher match, but I would describe that as a brilliant quality to look for in an English language coach. It's why that you are terrible English, sorry. It's why you are a recommended English teacher with us at Blue Noun. And I have to do my own wee plug here and just say, if you are somebody who is looking for a little bit of help finding the right match, finding the right system, you want to improve in your English, but you don't know where to start finding the right person in the online English market, at Blue Noun here, we have a service. It's a one-off system. You fill out a form. All our teachers have already completed a parallel form with similar questions, but not the same. And we take that information from the two forms, have a Zoom chat with you to talk about, to be clear, to set a few clear goals and to work out what you're aiming for, and then we can match you with one of our recommended teachers, of which Chris is most definitely one. So I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to add, Chris. I think that was here. We've talked about how to get in touch with you, and you're available for English language coaching.
Yeah, that's right. I just one last little plug. I do also have a digital course at firehead.net. If you are looking to, if you've got a presentation or English presentation or moment in the spotlight coming up, we've got a digital course as well that does include 3 hours of coaching at the end of it as well. So
Okay.
check out
So that's 3 hours of 3 hours of live coaching with you. Is
3 hours
that
of
right?
3 hours of live coaching and about 6 hours of video content
Brilliant.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a great thing to know about, because presentations are quite often that pain point in somebody's English journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be. Just learn the terms and pre-prepare with a coach, and you'll be fine. Okay, lovely to talk to you, Chris. Absolutely amazing.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'll
Yeah.
catch you again.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's a
Yeah.
total pleasure. All right. And if anybody's got any questions about this, please do just pop them into the comments, and Chris or myself will get back to you. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye.